Success of any project depends on the quality of planning and execution of those plans and manner of improvisations whenever required. Until now, it really looks like the way Ripple the company plotted the fishing net for customers around the globe, it's really working, and RippleNet will change the banking industry. Now, as the adoption increases there in the RippleNet, here in the XRP ledger, it's also gaining traction. New corridor from Russia seems to be active towards multiple currencies. And then the eye of the Russian team is on the central bank digital currency for their nation. So yes, everything is lined up and every information looks like it is tied up. And I will even say majority of what we are watching right now is already known by some. At least they already planned for this particular stuff. And what we are watching now, as we understand the regulatory clarity from G20, G7 talking about Libra, and then UK's financial authority coming out showing regulations, and the way Ripple tweets it out shows the manner they are looking at UK with a bit of proud, that the proudness is reaching a level that they may even indirectly state that they may relocate to United Kingdom. And that is kind of shameful for regulators who are sleeping with head down in US. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you'd like to get more value from the channel, you can use the Patreon link given in the description below. If you'd like to extend your support, you can use the PayPal, Patreon, or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. Now, let's dive into charts first and then look at how UK regulations, Ripple's relocation, payments, the cross-border payments, regulatory stuff, how Fed is looking at it, on all other information related to that. So on a shorter time frame, XRP is still a bit of boring if you are looking at pattern, but we can say that the pattern is still valid. We are still moving inside the pattern. At one stage, it really showed like it's going below the pattern with that red candle, but it immediately found support and then moved back into the range. It was going towards the top. It really looked like it is going above, but again, it's still moving within that range. Now that's on a shorter time frame. If you move on a daily, you kind of get this one, and this really gets kind of a bit interesting, because these candles which you see here, it really shows something which happened in the history. I'll actually show you guys that too, but in a different asset. Say here, when you are looking at this green candles, it kind of pushed the price to the upside, again corrected back, reached a support and then pushed to the upside, and slowly the same is happening, but here it is taking more time. So here it happened in just 2 days, 2 candles, and here again 2 days, but here it's taking more than that, right? And it is reaching towards a resistance level. So what did happen in the history to understand how all of these evolved? See, one of the aspect where you can see a similar pattern is something here. The movement towards that resistance took a long time considering the previous fluctuations, but the breakout from that was like a huge candle. Now yes, it was in a bearish trend, so even after that it came to the downside. But if you generally go back and check the BTC chart, you can actually see the previous breakout in BTC when we were at that bottom, and it was kind of looking like, yes, we just went above that particular resistance line. Still, we were not getting that movement. It was like this. If you look, you got a huge candle here, then again a push to the upside, then again 2 candles to the upside, then the momentum kind of slowed down, right? It took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to slowly move to the upside, but eventually buyers kicked out the sellers and took the control, and that was the beginning of that kind of a bullish momentum towards the upside. Then you can see how it actually fluctuated from that level. Say it was around 7,500 and we reached around 4,000 in 12,500 in that rally. Now that is not a small thing. Now if you go back here, previously what happened at the bottom of that bull run, which really looks similar to that of XRP. We are at the bottom, we are kind of moving to the upside, we haven't even broke to the upside like that. And then look here, you see something similar. The first pump, then again another pump, but here you're seeing slow candles, momentum is reduced. Eventually again buyers kick out the sellers, and that is what we are also looking here in XRP. So hopefully we would be reaching that particular zone soon. Payment space, especially the cross-border payment space, is really getting a lot of competition from fintech itself. A lot of different fintech companies coming in, banks and other payment providers are trying to stay relevant in this market condition. But what you have to understand is even banks are not giving up. They are trying their best to leverage the technology to stand up and take their fair share of the cross-border payments remittance market's profit. And here 100 Italian banks go live on Spanta blockchain. Now if you don't know Spanta, if you're new here, that's from R3 that uses a distributed ledger technology which is known as Spanta Bank. Now that's kind of a bank for bank. So that actually uses R3's Coda settler, and as you all know, the asset which they used from the beginning is XRP. So that is also a positive news, looking at an entire nation going on that one, because they don't want that all issues of traditional banking limiting their ability. Looking at their economy as well, they really need to unleash that capital which is being tied up. Now we actually went through different type of data from SIA, NTT data, R3 over the time of say last 3, 4, 5 months, and we discussed all of that, and that all leads to the adoption of XRP ledger using the promotion of Ripple. Now the improvement in the payment sector is not only from private players, it's also from government layer players. Fed is actually looking at their own system, which is Fed now. They're looking to pilot that program. But what you have to understand is, as they are already delayed a lot with their own payment system, mobile payment system. If you look, China is heading, then India and other countries way ahead of US in that aspect. So even if they want to climb the ladder now, they need to push that regulation. But now it really looks like they are way behind and other countries are getting that momentum back. Now if you look at the history, you'll understand the reserve currency status usually stayed up to an average of say 100 and 105 years. So for USD, that's kind of getting close and it's soon to be changed. Now that is not only in that perspective. If you look at the economy shifting from one hand to another, the key player, the superstar hero kind of thing in that economy, now it's US, but it may soon change into a different nation as the technology change, banking and finance change, and the money flows to the other direction. See, these are kind of stuff what regulators and governments can actually do to attract more business and more investments into their country. And as that kind of flow happens, new corridors in a payment network like RippleNet and XRP Ledger is really important, because the flow of money would be costly otherwise. So in this aspect, they can do that instantaneously with little to no cost there. So this kind of adoption thing has to be highlighted. Now, shout out to Chris for putting this one out from the same document of FSB. But when you come inside and look at enhancing that perspective of cross-border payments, you really have to look at all the different aspects which they are looking at. One at the bottom you can see is that ISO 29022 standard, which is there for the interoperability of that network. So that is one aspect. And then the regulations itself, right? The AML, CFT, all the rules which they have to follow to complete those payments. Now, when a bank or a financial institution is looking at that kind of payment network, they really have to go through the regulations and all the other stuff. But the way they can take more benefit from the technology is this side: new payment infrastructure and arrangements here in E. So when you look at that one, it is shown at the end of the circle, I agree, but it should actually be at the top. And at the bottom, it's showing factoring an international dimension into CBDC design. Now guys, I've been talking about this from a long time, and if you understand, that's where we are really going towards. Even if you don't believe it, you will believe one day as you see in front of your eyes it's being implemented. Considering the feasibility of new multilateral platforms and arrangements for cross-border payments. So what are they really considering? Feasibility of new multilateral platforms. How many platforms do you actually know which is working with the Bank of England and the regulators in UK and around the globe? Let it be, say, Stellar. Do you think it is? Do you think it is Ripple? Do you think it is from Quant? Do you think it is from Zenfin? Now, if you even look at the documents at which they have conducted the pilot programs, experimental trials, the discussions, you will see an upper hand of Ripple, the company ruling all of those other competitors which I just named out there. And if you look at Coinbase, which was really, kind of negative towards XRP in the initial stage, they are now using it for payments. They're showing zero cost for payments using XRP and USDC. So that's another step towards adoption. One, for what? Payments. Towards which corridors? You can actually see a lot of different nations. So if government is not stepping up and enhancing this cross-border payment system, they would always directly go into that private entity who provides better service, right? Now this tweet from Stuart highlights the G20 version of that and the G7's version towards crypto. Now, when they talk about crypto for G7, they are talking, yes, we are coming up with the CBDCs, but the thing is, until we come up with that, we won't allow Libra-like projects. So G7 continues to maintain that no global stablecoin project should begin operation until adequately address relevant legal, regulatory, blah, 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 blah. So it's just that they want to delay it to an extent where they have the upper hand, the governments, the authorities. They can look into it, lean into it, take your profit without providing regulatory clarity. If you look at the previous cycle or the upcoming cycle, anyway, regulations are not here now for every country. It will take 1, 2, 3, 4 years. We don't know. But one thing we know is that the next market cycle would be starting maybe tomorrow, maybe next month. We don't know. It's closer than we think. We know that. But the profits from that would be taxed in majority of the countries as the price of cryptocurrencies go to the upside. Why would they actually tax it? Just because they are hungry for tax. Now, why do I say that? Except UK or say Singapore or some least countries which you can count inside your fingers, none of them have actually given a proper clarity in last 3 years. They had a huge time duration to do that. If it's something related to the election politics, they would have done it 1 month, right? Now here they are lagging this thing for a long period of time, and now they're coming here like fox to take out a share of your profit. So regulatory clarity really means stuff moving here, the money moving into this particular asset class. So now this particular tweet actually highlights the G20 realizes that our current global financial infrastructure is in dire need of an upgrade. What did we talk in last 3 videos? The current financial infrastructure is being changed, and the banking and finance, as we understand, is changing. Now that really is happening, and this tweet kind of validates it, right? It's in a different words, but it's the same theme. Now, in the next sentence, he applauds the Fin board there and the FSB there, and then for charting a path to improve cross-border payments. Now, it is through public and private partnerships. So if you look back at the statement from Bank of France, you'll see something similar there. So they are all looking at the benefits for the economy and citizens using a partnership with private entities. Now, if you look at private entities' role in central banks, digital currency projects, and how they are getting advices from these firms, it really shows that the direction towards digital assets and the usage of regulated financial digital assets are not way far from where we are now. And that this gives a symbol like, yes, institutions understand that, and that's why they are jumping into assets which at least have some kind of regulatory clarity in US and other words, which is looking like, say, a Bitcoin or just the crypto in general. But now you can see the 10 billion Stone Ridge Asset Management is jumping with $115 million into their Bitcoin. Now, as we see different news in one day, next day, another week, different companies are entering with a huge amount of money. Say it will be just 1%, 10%, 20% of their portfolio, but still those amount are not actually small. It is relevant to the entire industry. They're not pushing the entire stuff into the market directly. They would be putting it like little stones whenever they see a dip. They would sell, they would push the price down and then buy at a lower price. That's how these kind of whales operate. Now, at the same time, if you are familiar with BlackRock and its ties with US economy, US government, and then the company Ripple, this one really gets your attention. He is stating that the offices should be greener, and how? It should not reach its full capacity again. That's kind of, a conspiracy type of stuff, stating we are entering the new normal, right? They are plotting that one. So it kind of gets in that way where we all think, that's not the correct thing. Anyway, it's not up to us to say that, right? But what we will say is what we are looking at here is something new. What is that? And in this document page number 2, when you go down, why might we need a digital dollar? How could the digital dollar be introduced? And other stuff regarding digital euro. It's about digital euro. About digital euro. Now the document itself is showing about a digital euro for the digital era. When I talk about a digital era, some used to laugh, but it's now even the term is being used by the regulators itself. Anyway, while talking about that, what really is to be understood here, a digital euro would ensure that even in a situation where there is a rapid digitalization in the world of payments, so they understand there is an issue facing the traditional technologies being kicked out and people are entering into more digitized platform. So payments are going digital. Now, sovereign money remains at the core of European payment system. So they want their fiat be changed into a digital fiat and used for all the payments so they can keep the record and monitor every transaction. This would contribute to financial inclusion. Now, yes, they are stating that again, the word financial inclusion is being used. Now, it would also shield us from the risk of private or public digital means of payment issued and controlled from outside the euro area could largely displace existing domestic means of payment. Now, that is for domestic payments. Now, when you are looking at digital euro, it should be mostly used for cross-border payments. Now, that's on one side, but looking into their domestic economy as we are entering into tokenized and digitized platforms, corporates would even come out with their own tokens, and it won't be long from this point of time till we see that kind of stuff. Such a development would raise regulatory and financial stability concerns, and they are working on that one. So it really shows that the current pandemic is accelerating whatever they are doing. And I'm thinking, if this is the way they accelerate stuff, how much time it would actually take if they are not accelerating. Now, when you come at the top, what are they talking about? And look at this. It shows at the same time payments in digital euro, just like any form of payment, would have to respect the rules on counterfeiting, money laundering, financial terrorism, blah, blah, blah. All the regulatory stuff there. Now, this is one of the stuff which is taking a bit of time. Why? Because they have to go through all of the existing stuff and compare it with the new and old system. So regulations are taking more time, but still the non-bank digital money such as payment cards and other stuffs are here, right? So we can understand these type of payments are gaining traction. Now, as we just told here that new investments are entering into the crypto market, we can see something similar here. Now, this tweet from Peter Vass actually shows Fidelity claims trillions could enter Bitcoin in new report. Now, in that new report, what you have to understand is when they state trillions of dollars coming in, it really means trillions of dollars. They won't actually say something if they are not even sure about that. The chances are the trillions may be in tens of trillions. They are not sure here, right? But once that kind of adoption phases increases and individuals, even institutions, now institutions are already entering like this, and when the HNIs, the high net worth individuals, look at this asset class and say, okay, let me try 1 or 2% or even 5% of my portfolio into that. Even if that goes to zero, it's okay for me. But if it skyrockets, that's beneficial, right? So that is one of the main area where you have to understand this asset class is changing. Now, when we say this asset class is changing, the cross-border payment stuff is changing and all, I would like to actually play this small clip which is tweeted from Digital Asset Investor here. That really gives you some perspective about what we just talked here.
I don't think that we're going to be accounting for things in Bitcoin or XRP in the foreseeable future, right? So things will still be used, and the unit of account will still be the currencies. So if there were like an incredible rush of demand for XRP to use as a settlement, asset globally, more likely than not, what would happen is the price would have to adjust to be able to facilitate that, right?
So as we've been pointing out towards central bank digital currencies, yes, it is coming and it would be the way we pay. Now, yes, the payment service can be different, but the fiat or digital fiat being used will not be displaced. That's the perspective shared by Michael here. And when you look at not Michael, Miguel here, so when you look at that particular stance, and then at the end what he stated is the price has to be changed. So the price would not stay same when XRP is being adopted as a settlement asset. I'll play that again, or if you can just rewind and play the video again and listen to that carefully. The price of XRP would be, changed, repriced. It would move. So those who state XRP's price is going to zero or it's not even worth the current price really have to understand if it is being adopted. Now we understand the level of adoption going behind the screen, and now regulatory clarity is popping out. So positive stuff is there for individuals who can see. Even if you look in Bible, it says, you see if you have eyes. Now, if you have eyes, yes, you can. Otherwise, you can just close your eyes and say, no, it's darkness everywhere. So guys, that's all for today. And if you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use that PayPal, Patreon or XRP wallet address given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.